Hello. My favourite books. Johnson's Dictionary. The full dictionary would fill perhaps 10 volumes, but what I have here is just a selection of his definitions in his dictionary, and they are very interesting. Sometimes we see his sense of humour. For example, he said, oats, a grain which in England is fed to the horses, and in Scotland is fed to the people. And we'll see later on the retort that Robbie Burns is said to have made to this statement. So anyway, this is Dr. Samuel Johnson, an Englishman who lived in the 1700s, and he spent almost 10 years of his life working on this dictionary. So let's have a look at some of the work that he produced. There was no such thing as a dictionary of the English language in Shakespeare's time. Johnson's was published 150 years after Shakespeare in 1755, and it reigned supreme for pretty much the next 150 years. Well, it took him nearly 10 years to complete. He read a huge number of books, and as he read, he marked passages for his assistants to copy onto slips of paper, and he put 200,000 of these quotations into the dictionary. So unlike modern dictionaries, which are pretty humorless and boring, we see Johnson's sense of humor come out. For example, he defines lexicographer as a writer of dictionaries, a harmless drudge. Little joke on himself. Here's an interesting expression that I guess was current at the time: plucking a crow, busy doing that which is of no value. And here we are, fart, wind from behind, his definition, and then he gives this quote. Yes, very interesting quote. And here's his famous definition of oats, a grain which in England is generally given to horses, but in Scotland supports the people. And it said that Robbie Burns replied with this trumping witticism: the English are known for the quality of their horses, and the Scots for the quality of their men. And unlike modern dictionaries, which are careful to maintain a neutral stance, Johnson isn't afraid to make blunt judgments. Several words he labels ludicrous, for example, ambassadress. He can also add scathing comment about the people or actions the words describe: suicide, self-murder, the horrid crime of destroying oneself. Fortune teller, one who cheats common people by, that should be, pretending to the knowledge of the future. Palmistry, the cheat of foretelling fortune by the lines of the palm. Patron, a wretch who supports with insolence and is paid with flattery. Of course, that was a custom at the time. If you were a writer or an artist or something, you would have a patron who would support you. And Johnson no doubt experienced the insolent attitudes of many of these, and he saw the flattery that was returned. Poetaster, a vile, petty poet. And I think we still need people like Johnson who aren't afraid to tell it straight. Something from the introduction he wrote to the dictionary. He noted the influence of French on the English of his day and lamented the idleness and ignorance of translators who were going to reduce us to babble, a dialect of France. So he was trying to give good English words that these translators could use instead of just copying the French words. And he wanted his dictionary to be edifying. He chose quotations to be useful, not just to illustrate the word. They could show principles of science, remarkable facts, or beautiful descriptions. And Johnson was right up with all the areas of learning in his day. And just to conclude, here are some useful words we could revive. You can make your own judgment on that. Bookful, full of notions gleaned from books, crowded with undigested knowledge. Maybe we could say internet full. Break promise, that's a person who breaks their promise. And then there are all these words that seem to come pretty much straight from Latin. Yes, there they are. You can learn them to impress your friends, perhaps. Frittinancy, the noise made by an insect like a cricket or a cicada. I like that one. But here, this is a nice one, a nice word that surely we can still use today. Kissing crust. Crust formed where one loaf in the oven touches another.